I still have the property in Flagstaff, Coyote Pass. We're going to split it 4 ways. And the last I talked to Cody, he says he doesn't have his part of the money to pay off the property. I have my part, and it's just sitting there. It's really up to Mary, Robin, Cody, and I to pay it off. Look, all of my quote-unquote retirement, all the money I've saved is tied up right now in these properties on Coyote Pass. I have suggested to Cody that he just get a loan and finance me out, get my portion out.
Hi, friends. It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, October 21st, 2024. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Cody Brown's finances were revealed by Janelle on the show last night on Sister Wives. Now, this episode had a lot in it, and I'll be doing a completely separate video about Cody and Mary's explosive conversation. But in this video, I just wanted to kind of combine two topics that were on this episode. One was the Janelle situation with Cody related to their property, and the other one was the introduction of David Woolley and Christine Woolley's relationship, which it felt very honestly anticlimactic. We already know that they're married, they're madly in love. We already know all about their love for the PDA. I think I've heard Christine's story about her, how she knew he was the one, at least 20 times by now. She has told this story on numerous podcasts, numerous interviews, on the tell all, on her page on Instagram. Like, the story has been told so many times. It was also told on the wedding special. You know, I understand their desire to move forward quickly, and I understand the fact that she's 50 and she feels like she knows what she wants, and David is almost 60 when they meet, and he knows what he wants. And so with that said, like, why should they wait? I think the problem is that Christine did a lot of the spoilers on public, on like out in the media, and so there's just not a lot of new information about David, unfortunately. But I want to just kind of dive into it so you can get some of the reactions from the kids and hear from Janelle about the property. So the dispute between Cody and Janelle over Coyote Pass is continuing to reel its ugly head on the show. And ironically, in this episode, she completely ignores the fact that she gave Cody money for the house, the down payment that she keeps talking about. And now she said that all of her money is tied up in Coyote Pass. And so, as a product of that, she wants Cody to buy her out. And she says that Cody doesn't even have the money to pay off Coyote Pass, and he doesn't have the money to buy her out, which is weird because y'all saw his photographs of his house, right? Like, he did have the money. Had he not bought art, had he not bought Robin jewelry and Rolex watches and knickknacks and geodes and crap, he would have had the money he needed to pay off the land. But he chose to spend it on Robin. He chose to spend it on himself. And it almost feels like he did that intentionally, so he wouldn't have to have the money to pay her off and to keep her in limbo. Cody seems to like to keep his women in limbo, and he doesn't want to let them go, which we will talk about in the episode, in the later video I do about Mary Brown. Cody Brown is, I would say, the equivalency of what happens when someone who has no money and comes from an uneducated background like he does, where he didn't go to college, graduated high school, but didn't really do any, education outside of high school, has no financial understanding of how to invest, comes from a cult where they don't believe in investing and they instead believe in like investing in crap in order to like bleed the beast of the government and racking up debt. And he was such a huge spender even before he had money that every single one of them had declared bankruptcy at some point. Janelle declared in 97, he and Mary declared in 2005, and Christine declared bankruptcy in 2010. And so this was a dude that was spending hand over fist money, and they walked away from so much credit card debt. I mean, I think he and Mary had over $85,000 of credit card debt, and they were not making very much money. And so this is a guy that had no money in savings. When they talked about how he used to like he took out his 401k and he cashed it out. I mean, I'm pretty sure that 401k had like $2,500 in it. It wasn't very much money. And so they didn't have retirement accounts. They didn't have that kind of stuff. They weren't spending money on anything needed. They didn't carry health insurance. They don't think about savings. Instead, all Cody did was, I'm going to spend the money as fast as I make it. And so he will be bankrupt again at some point. I can't imagine that this can continue the way it is. And while the show has received decent ratings in the last couple years, it's very obvious that the production value has gone down really into the toilet. And it's very obvious that the show has become so expensive to produce that production companies are not being used for filming. Instead, they are relying on the cast members to film on their phones. And the cast themselves, they are not using good cameras for filming. They're using iPhones or Androids to film. And that footage is not well lit, doesn't have great audio, sometimes is in bad angles. And it doesn't create like a great experience for the viewer to watch a taped video or a recorded video on someone's iPhone. I'd rather watch something on YouTube then. So, with the show becoming more expensive to produce, that also means they don't have as much money to pay the cast because they can't, if they can't afford proper production for the show, they can't afford to pay the cast at this point. And so they're all going to just keep fighting about money because there's no money to be made anymore. And so when Janelle says that, she wants to move, she's staying with Caleb and Maddie. It's Christmas. She has Christmas with them and she talks about all the great activities they're going to do with the kids. And Janelle has taken this idea that she's going to continue this concept of communal living that she was doing with the family and communal money. So even now, after leaving Cody, Janelle is going to then go to Maddie and Caleb and pool their resources to buy property together and pool their resources to work as a family to buy and create something. And when I was listening to Janelle talk about this, and I understand like she's been completely drained from Cody, right? Financially. And so this is probably not ideal. The concept that she always says is that she's so independent. And the one thing that kept going through my brain is like, if you're this independent and you want to buy property with your daughter and your son-in-law and build with your daughter and your son-in-law, you're actually not that independent. There's a level of almost codependence where communal living is what she's used to and that's what she wants to do. And I'm not at all discounting that this is like a bad idea. I don't think it's a bad idea. It's just that it doesn't scream independence to me. It's like the opposite of independence. But either way, she and Maddie and Caleb, they do buy the property, but they buy it in North Carolina. As you know, Tata Farms was launched. So, which she says they're going to be doing flowers, but it's raw land right now. They haven't really done anything. So they've almost prematurely launched it because there's nothing the business actually makes right now. There's no flowers being grown. There's really nothing happening there. It's just raw land. So it's kind of putting the cart before the horse, but Cody doesn't have money to pay off Coyote Pass. And so if this was filmed in 2022 at Christmas, they paid it off in June of 2023, which makes me wonder, where did the money come from? When the property was paid off, the releases of the property went to Cody and Janelle, and that almost made me feel like maybe Janelle was the one that paid off the property. And I want to also note that Janelle said that the property payment the property was being split 4 ways and the other 3 had to come up with the money to pay off the debt. That's not true. Mary wasn't on any of those loans at all. At all. Mary was not on any of the loans for Coyote Pass. Legally speaking, Mary didn't have to give a dime to pay off those loans. Those loans were in the name of Cody and Robin and Cody and Janelle. That's it. And then when the properties were released, the title was released to Janelle and Cody for all of it, of the 2 parcels that had outstanding debt. The other 2 didn't have any outstanding debt. So I don't know. I don't know how it got paid off. I kind of feel like Janelle might have paid off all of it on her own because I can't think like they owed, they owed like 280,000 because I think they had like 147 due on one and maybe 140 on another, and it was an interest only balloon payment. And so if they had like 280 due, if Cody didn't have the money in January or December to pay it off, where did he get $180,000 in 6 months with how he spends? And then the concept that he would have to take a loan out to buy out Janelle, so he has to rob Peter to pay Paul. Like, Cody is a walking mess when it comes to finances. And if this is how he was in 2023, if it's 2024, I don't think his finances are any better. And now Christine is coming from him for him in court. So that was kind of the extent of the Janelle storyline.
When I left Cody, I decided I wanted to find someone who was bald and had tattoos and drove a motorcycle and stuff. Just to find something so different. He's a father of 8 kids. He has 10, he has 9 grandkids. His wife passed away 11 years ago. 50, I know what I want. I know what I had before. This feels totally different. And I dated enough guys in the past year to know what I'm looking for.
We also met David for the first time, although we've already met him because the wedding special already debuted their story and their love story. And it was very anticlimactic. I can't even express to you how uninterested I was in this part of this episode because I feel like I already knew everything. We already knew that Christine's kids had reservations about the relationship and the speed the relationship went. We know that Peyton was a little bit apprehensive to the situation. We're learning that Isabel was the most concerned about the speed of this relationship. And the other kids just seemed like happy for their mom, recognized that Christine was definitely moving fast, but that it had been a very long time since she had been happy. And so if David makes her happy, they were happy. Christine reveals that she told David she loved him within like a week, that they had done some special dates with his kids. She discussed how his wife died and he went on to raise his kids together, that he understood the world of polygamy. She didn't really say that his 2 sisters lived in polygamy. And definitely there was no mention that his wife died by suicide. So they kept things kind of like high level. And they're off camera. David has talked about his wife's mental health issues. His daughter has talked about his wife's health or her mom's mental health issues and the circumstances surrounding the death. And when it comes to the polygamy stuff off camera and in interviews, they've talked about his sisters being a part of polygamy. And I think even in the wedding special, we learned about the polygamy connection to Mexico. And as you know, his niece was one of the people killed in Mexico in 2019 when there was like the cartels shot up 2 cars that were driving in a caravan in between 2 cities in Mexico, between 2 colonies. One, the Laconia LeBaron, and this other colony that was like, I don't know, a couple hours away. And so his niece was one of those that was killed. And there was like, I think 9 people that were killed. And it was a huge story. And there's actually been a docuseries about it. That hasn't, I don't think that'll get addressed on the show, but he has a background in polygamy, doesn't want to live in polygamy.
You're taking it the hardest. Can we be honest about that?
Wait, really? Is he?
I'm not taking it hard.
I said you're taking it the hardest.
I'm just moving slower.
I feel like you're more protective of me than anyone else.
Maybe. As happy as I am for her, I think that there is like a strangeness in it just because I've only known her as married to my dad. I thought it was fine. I do, however, think you guys are moving so fast.
Agreed.
So fast.
And honestly, at this point, they've been married a year. And you see Christine in the early stages, very biting her lip. She looks like she's very attracted to him. She looks very excited to have a new boyfriend. They definitely talk about their PDAs and how they can't keep their hands off each other. That itself is a little bit weird for some of the kids because Cody and Christine were never really handsy with each other or showed PDA or very affectionate. So it was very interesting in that respect, but not all that much new. I mean, I think fans are either going to really like them as a couple, or if they start seeing a side of David that they don't like. Tony did mention that that David reminds him of Cody, but if I'm going to be honest, Tony reminds me of Cody. So I'm just going to say it. Yep. Okay. So Tony's one to talk. And then his rationalization was that they're boomers, which, whatever, like how that is the same. So everyone that's a boomer is the same. Anyway, so the introduction of David happens. And then I think there was a very small clip at the end where Christine talked about, made one statement that I wanted to share.
I'm just excited to be with somebody. There's no threats of anybody else. It's just me. Isn't that weird to think of polygamy as a threat and the other women as a threat to your relationship? If a polygamist were to find a soulmate and have a soulmate relationship with one of their wives, I don't know what that looks like for their family. Because how can he have a good relationship with his other wives if he has a soulmate relationship with one of them?
Christine, in a way, is like deconstructing her faith through this relationship with David. And it's eye-opening because if you go back in time and you watch the very beginning episodes of this series, and I watched the very first 3 seasons this weekend because I had to I always rewatch the episodes during the season so I can remember things. So I have clips to share with you so you can see how things have changed, and I have information to provide to you. And there was a talking point that they all would make, and that was that their relationships and their marriages were really no different than monogamy, right? They would say things like, we have the same problems as monogamists have in their marriages. It's just multiplied because there's more people. And I really got the sense that Christine and Mary, because they came from polygamy and they had not had ever been really in a monogamous relationship, didn't know that what they were saying was false. They didn't know that what they were saying was completely out of they didn't know that they were brainwashed. They didn't know that what life was like outside. They had no clue. They had nothing to compare it to. To them, that's what they were told. It's all the same. And then here you hear Christine say, "There's no threat to my relationship." Isn't that weird that polygamy is a threat? That the other women are a threat? That other women coming into the relationship are a threat? Yes. No, that's not weird, actually. It's not weird. It's actually, thank you for finally acknowledging what we've all been saying, that if you add that many people into a marriage and that many people into a relationship, of course there's going to be fighting. Of course there's going to be jealousy. Of course it's not going to be all happiness. And this whole brainwashing of it's going to help you overcome all of the bad things in life so you can become more celestial is cult speak to indoctrinate and make a woman submissive to accept bad behavior by the husband and infidelity, and make the woman feel bad for having normal feelings of watching your spouse go sleep with someone else or have babies with someone else. That's a horrible, horrible feeling. These women didn't choose this life. If you are willingly putting yourself in a position and you are not having, any religious patriarchal system telling you you have to do this or else you won't go to heaven. If you're choosing to have multiple partners, that's one thing. But these women were not choosing it because they wanted to do this. They were told they had to do this. So they never wanted this. So of course other women were a threat to them. And of course it made them feel insecure. And of course it made them fight. And of course it made for completely unhealthy dynamics. And so for Christine to finally acknowledge that polygamy is a threat is huge to me. It shows me that she's actually waking up, because it is a threat to women. It's a threat to children. It's a threat to all people, because in this structure, women don't have a choice. Cody keeps talking about he doesn't have a choice, and that's bullcrap and it's gaslighting. And we're going to talk about that because Cody had a choice. No one forced Cody to be a polygamist. He wasn't even raised in this. Nobody put a gun to his head and said, you have to do this. He made that choice. He picked women that were so indoctrinated that didn't know that they had a choice. And then he wants to tell those women that he had no choice. Definition of deflection. So Christine and David's relationship is opening her eyes to things. David, honestly, he seems like a good guy. He seems pretty direct and honest and straightforward about what he thinks and feels. And I think if that makes Christine happy, then I'm happy for her. As long as she's happy, that's my opinion. I think it's People will say it's too much too soon. And honestly, who am I to judge? It's not my place to judge her relationship. Is there fear from the kids? Yes. Were they concerned about the speed? Yes. But that's not uncommon in divorce. Was he one of her only boyfriends? Yes. But does that mean that it can't work? No. We can only go off of what we're seeing. And so far, it looks like they're happy. And they've been together 2 years now. So if it was really going to rebound and fizzle out, it would have fizzled out very fast. And this is it's starting to look like they have what it takes for some longevity. And so I'm happy for them. And we'll have to just see how the rest of this unfolds. So Cody's broke and Christine views women as a threat and David looks like a good guy. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed and click the bell so you never miss a video. Bye everyone.